Kentucky week. First off, I want to say, how impressed I am when I watch Kentucky on tape. Just not looking at records, just looking at how they play the game. I think they're I know they're a physical football team on both sides of the ball. Offensively, I think their line of scrimmage is one of the better lines scrimmages in the league. I love how their center plays. He's smart. He's physical. So obviously he calls all their calls up front and gets them in the right blocking schemes. They have very good running backs. He's 24 and 22. Chris Rodriguez and then Asim Rose. Those two guys are exceptional guys that run behind their pads, run physical. Terry Wilson's a guy that can hurt you with his legs and his arm, but they're a physical football team on offense, and it's a mindset game for us defensively. We're going to have to be able to stop the run. We're going to have to be able to line up to the different things they do on offense. They do a lot of shifts, a lot of unbalanced formations where we got to make the right checks and get in the right gaps. Defensively, they base out of a 3-4 defense. They've got aggressive guys outside that can run. Up front, they're huge. Says 357 pounds for 95. He looks about 370, but they got big guys in there that can anchor the point and two-gap. And they've got guys that can fly around defensively. I think they're first or second in the league in interceptions. They do a great job because they play a lot of vision coverage, play a lot of zone. And if you're not accurate in your passes or try to push the ball downfield too much in zone coverage is where they get interceptions. The punter is an outstanding punter. And number 6, their leading receiver is a good returner. Coach Stoops has done a great job. I remember when he came into the league, I was still at the University of Georgia, and he's built that program, and he's built it around toughness. I know they've had some COVID issues and had an opt-out yesterday. But I think we're all dealing with issues right now at every team. But we got an opportunity to play, and we're going to have to be ready because this is a physical football team, and we're going to have to play more physical than we've been playing to have a chance in Lexington on Saturday night. Questions?
David with the first one.
Hey, Mike, thanks for doing this. Were Shy, Ernest, and JJ able to practice today?
Shy practiced in a yellow jersey. I think it's day 3 of his protocol. So he was non-contact and did practice, which is a good sign. JJ is out right now, and then Ernest is out.
Ben Brenner.
Mike, you mentioned kind of how tricky this defense can be. How much of a learning experience can that be for Luke going against kind of that odd front and some of the stuff that they do?
Well, I think we got to do a good job to help him in how we call plays, and our centers got to do a lot to help him get us in the right run schemes. We won't put a lot on him as far as getting us in and out of plays. I think we'll have to block the looks. We'll have a couple things that I feel he can handle, but I don't want, one thing you never want to do is you want to paralyze a guy where he cannot play fast and be instinctive. So what he can handle after we finish this week of preparation is what we'll take into the game. If it's something we feel like that he cannot handle or doesn't understand, then we won't call it. So we can control that.
Mike Yuba.
Mike, I know it's an individual honor, but I mean, when you have a guy like Kevin Harris being able to close in on a mark of 1,000 yards rushing, obviously that's something that isn't just about him. It's about the offensive line and everything that the offense has been able to do. What would that mean, you think, for this team, especially through everything they've been through these last couple of weeks?
Well, I think it's a goal that is on our kids' minds, and not just Kevin. It's something that the offense takes pride in, especially the offensive line and the running backs. They know how close he is and know what he's meant to this football team offensively in the run game and the pass game, and they want to see him get to 1,000 yards. I think yesterday somebody said it was 2013 since the last time we've had a 1,000-yard rusher here at South Carolina, and be able to do it if we are able to do it in a 10-game season against all SEC defenses, I think will be something that this offense can build on for the future.
Dick Cox.
Mike, did you ever think when you left Colorado State, when you became a head coach again, that Adam Prentice would be your fullback, starting fullback? And what does he mean to your offense?
Well, I think he's an unselfish player. First of all, you got to be unselfish to play the fullback position. I don't think he has a carry for the year. He's got a couple catches. He's and I've coached or been a part of offenses that have played fullbacks over the years, and they're usually linebackers that maybe were a step slow that we moved over that might have been scholarship players, or a lot of times they're walk-on linebackers that you bring over and they just want to do something to help the football team, and that's Adam Prentice. And then he's a starter on every special team. He's a valuable guy. He's been voted captain, a couple times this year, maybe 3 times, 2 or 3 times. I think the way he goes about his business every single day is the kind of guys you want on your football team. Whether we played with a fullback or not, you would want Adam Prentice on your team because he's a core special teams guy. He's an unselfish football player.
Colin Taylor.
Yeah, Mike, I'm just not asking you to reveal your game plan, but if Shy is in the game and is able to go, just how does that impact how you call a game, and what can you do more with him in there than without?
Obviously, he's our number one receiving threat for us this year. So I think it will keep a defense a little bit more honest defensively. That they, have to know where he lines up and can keep maybe more of a coverage shell or someone a little bit higher in the post. Where if you didn't have him, and Georgia played some quarters last week, some 2 safeties look, but the safeties were real aggressive. But if you've got a shot in there, and as much run game we're running can open up some of the play action passes to him and Nick Muse. Obviously, Nick was big last week off some play action stuff, but you get Shy in there, that gives you another threat.
Ben. Ben Briner.
Ben.
Hey, Mike. Sorry about that. In terms of, I know we talked a couple weeks ago about the potential bowl situation being with the weird rules. I wanted to ask, has Coach Tanner given you any update on that, and what's that kind of situation?
He has not, and I haven't asked. I'm focused on getting this team ready for Kentucky. And again, it's going to be a tough football game in some elements, and that's been our focus. We're trying to stay in the present. Every single day as a football team and as a coaching staff, and I know it might be like, well, that's coach speak, but that's the truth. We don't control making those decisions. We control getting ready for Kentucky and reviewing this film and then getting ready to have a good practice tomorrow. And that's really the only way you can go about things. Especially in this day, with everything going on, you're trying to keep these kids focused one day at a time.
Eric Boynton.
Yeah, hi, Mike. You just alluded to Kevin and the 10-game SEC schedule. Having 2 fewer games, playing all SEC opponents, would a 1,000-yard season be one of the better achievements in your mind that maybe you've witnessed or been around over the course of a year?
Yeah, there's no question. You're playing against SEC opponents every week. We have not been, really that balance of a football team, or have not been very proficient in the passing game. So, it has made running the ball a little bit more difficult. Now we've done a good job, running a few different schemes. Coaches have done a good job game planning. The players have done a good job adjusting. We've given, him a chance to be successful in some different type of runs. We've been creative in our run game, is what I'm trying to say. But when you're pretty much one-dimensional like we've been, and for him to do that against a whole SEC, schedule, I think that speaks volumes of this offensive group and what they've done, and obviously him. And I said it last week. We've done a good job up front and tight ends and receivers blocking to get him to the second level untouched, and we've all seen his speed. But I think what he did last week is going to give him even more confidence, how he ran behind his pads and broke tackles When he can do that on a consistent basis, and then when we give him, a crack and get him in the second level, and he can have explosive plays like he's had this year, I think he's got a bright future, and he's got good ball skills. Catching the ball out of the backfield, and he's been a good protector. And Kevin's not a guy that doesn't say a lot. He comes to work. He came out of spring, down on the depth chart. Because of injury and really not getting a lot of time in it with his groin. I think he had in the 5 days, and then basically went to work, didn't say anything, and proved himself. And I said this the other night on a call. I think Coach Kitchens has done a really nice job with all those backs, holding them to a standard of what we expect here of how to play running back, and those guys have responded, and you've seen pretty good running back play by our group.
Dick Cox.
With all the teams been through this year, would you personally like to see them get the opportunity to play another game against somebody other in the SEC?
Well, I mean, I think if you're a competitor, you want to play anytime you have an opportunity, and that was my message today to the guys. If you're a competitor, you don't worry about everything that's going around you, and it's easy to say we don't have this, we don't have that, our coach is not here. We're playing in 29-degree weather at 7:30. I mean, there's a ton of things, but if you're a competitor, you step up and you answer a challenge, and you own the situation you're in. You go to work. So if you have an opportunity to play, competitors want to play. And if we didn't want to play, then that would tell you that we ain't got enough competitors here in South Carolina to be competitive.
David.
Mike, I know that you coached in cold weather for 5 years before coming here, but a lot of your guys here probably haven't played in it. How does that affect your game plan, planning to go up there where it might be really cold and might be snow on the ground?
Well, cold weather has, I've coached in it in 5 years. I think it's a mindset. Obviously, it was a little chilly this morning. We went outside. That was the first thing I talked about in the team meeting of what the weather's going to be. And this is going to be a weather game, and it's going to be a physical game. And we got to have the right mindset. We can't be shocked when we get out there and it's cold. We got to go play. The cold never really. It's when it's cold and maybe windy. The wind probably affects your play calling more than anything. If the wind, and I've read the weather reports, I don't see the wind being that much of a factor. 8 to 10 miles an hour on the weather report I looked at last night. But it could if it gets slick out there. If it's snow to ice and it's a little. I mean, it could be, and I think protecting the ball is going to be huge in all areas. Points are going to be valuable if it's that type of weather game, so like we talked about in field goal block, if we get an opportunity to score, we got to score. If we get an opportunity to possibly either block an extra point or block a field goal, those could be big momentum plays. So we talked about that today, how, every possession is going to be important. Taking care of the ball is going to be important. And then the biggest thing is mindset. They got a lot. I know they live in Kentucky. I don't think it's been that cold up there, but they got a lot of players from the South too on Kentucky's team, so they're going to have to play in that weather as well.
Rick Henry.
Hey, Coach, a little earlier you mentioned about trying to keep the guys focused. I was just wondering, is maybe it a little tougher to keep some of them focused because of mental fatigue, just how trying this season is? Because we know how you can get beat up physically, but with everything going on this year, some of the guys maybe just getting a little mentally fatigued.
I think so. I think it's been a long season. It's been a tough season. And things don't always go the way you want them, and sometimes, physical issues are going to happen every year in a season, like you just mentioned. But sometimes, the mental things can weigh on you more than anything. And we talked about that today. Frustration can lead to more frustration, and can basically paralyze you. But if you try to separate that thing and focus on the task at hand, every single day, and embrace the challenge that you have, because you're going to have challenges for the rest of your life. They don't realize that this is the best time in their life right now, in college, when we take care of them and we feed them and we clothe them, and they're going, before long, they're going to have a job, and they're going to have a family, and they're going to have a wife looking at them, when they come home, and asking them a bunch of questions, and they got to provide. And I mean, and things might not go right, whether it's with your job, with your family, with your health, with family members' health, and so everybody has challenges. Sometimes we tend to look at our own self and think we have the biggest problems in the world, and everybody's dealing with them. So I just constantly harping that, and and to be honest, it's been harder this year because it's harder to hold them accountable when the NCAA allows people to opt out at any time. And there's no consequences. No, you can't hold them accountable. Yes, it was for COVID, but now, there's opt-outs every other week, and there's nothing to hold them accountable for. Stay on scholarship. You get your cost of living. It's been tough, and it's been a challenge, and we're not the only people dealing with it. Every coach in America is dealing with it. So. I'm not, like I told them, I'm not going to cry about it. I'm not going to cry about the situation that we're in. I'm here. I don't know for how much longer, but I'm here right now, and I expect to have a great practice and get ready to go kick, Kentucky's butt.
Colin Taylor.
Yeah, Mike, 2 questions. Do you know who's going to start at left tackle this weekend?
I do.
Are you he's sharing that, or are you going to keep that a secret?
No, you'll probably see both guys. I don't know who's going to start yet. Okay.
And I guess on the TV broadcast, they talked about Luke Doty Thursdays. I'm curious, can you kind of share how that came about?
Sometimes I'm a negative person. I kind of, I'm always, and I'll be positive, and in the meeting, sometimes I'm always harping on the little things that we got to do right, and so a while back, I was coaching at another place. I decided to make Thursday positive Thursday. We're going to be positive. I'm going to say nothing positive. We're getting right, So it's always been positive Thursday for me on Thursdays to get myself right going into Saturday. But when I came here, Luke Doty, it doesn't matter whether he threw a pick or he misread something. He is the most positive guy in the world. So I changed it to, Luke Doty Thursday because he's positive. That's the story.
Mike Gillespie.
Hey, Coach, I don't know if you realize this, but hey, can you hear me? You got me? I don't know if you realize this, but Kentucky and Carolina are the only 2 teams in the SEC that are playing their 10th game this weekend. If I would have told you that at the beginning of this season, what would you have said to me? Well,
That's stuff that's not in our control. You're going to have tests, and you're going to, if somebody tests positive and you got contact tracing, you got to see what the doctors say, see who's going to be there, and so there could be some cancellations, and sometimes it's not in your control with another team. I think we've been, I wouldn't have thought that. I think it's a credit to, the SEC and everybody being structured, being organized. Obviously, Kentucky has had some issues and played probably close to the number last couple weeks, and I think you get to this point, you're like, we're gonna keep playing. If you got some of these teams that are going to stretch out and play games to December 19th. Have 3 more games, in a season that's already been so long that, somebody asked that question, the mental side of it for these players. I wouldn't have thought it, but here we are right now. Knock on wood, we got one more test on Thursday, and our goal is to get this game in and go up there and compete. But, I didn't think we'd make it this far, to be honest.
Ben Briner.
Mike, you kind of talked a little bit about guys having the opportunity to opt out and all that. And I guess what do you learn about Shai and the fact that it's been a rough season and he's still fighting to come back? A lot of guys in his situation probably would have opted out or at least sort of loafed their way through the end of it. And what do you kind of learn about him with the way he's approaching it this week?
Well, I'm proud of Shai. I've mentioned it a couple times when I've talked to you guys. I haven't talked to you guys a lot except for the last 3 weeks. But Shai's a guy that we challenged when we got here. Told him what we needed, out of him to help this football team and for himself to be successful. And Coach Cox has done a really good job with him. He's done a good job, and we're trying to game plan yesterday and went and found him and talked to him, and he said, I'm trying to go. And ultimately it's the doctor's decision. You don't play when it's dealing with head injuries, and we'll see what they say. But I'm excited. He was out there. I didn't think he was going to do as much as he did today. And I think, it's kind of what I talked about the seniors. Your legacy is not going to be in wins. Your legacy is going to be how you fight through adversity. How do you pass down to the younger guys when things aren't going good? How do I work? How do I go about my business? And I think Shy's a really good example of that. I told him earlier in the year, I don't need you to be the team leader. I need you to be a good teammate and come to work every day. And I think your play, if you do that, will have a chance to be exceptional. And I think he's been a very good player for us. And another guy I want to mention is Darius Rush, who was out for 2 weeks for COVID. Here's a guy that was on scout team at the beginning of the year, but he played on special teams. He just went to work every day. He had a role on special teams. He has an injury, and they give him the option to have surgery during the year or wait till after the season. He says, I'm waiting till after the season. And this guy was just a gunner and ran down on kickoff. I want to play. I got a role. I want to help South Carolina try to win ball games. He had COVID. He easily could say, hey, I'm done for the year. He's back. He was back today. He had practiced 50% of the practice. He should be cleared for all the practice tomorrow. And he'll have a big role for us in Saturday. And you can't say enough about those guys. I made a point to mention that to the team today about Darius Rush. And he's excited to be here. He's embracing the challenge. That's what you want. You got to have more guys like that if you want to be a competitive football team.
Eric Boynton.
Yeah, Mike, have you had any discussions yet with Colin Hill about whether he plans to return next year? And would you expect that after all he's been through, all these comebacks he's made, that he's likely to play as long as there's an opportunity for him to play somewhere?
I have not in a while had a discussion with him about that. I think that's something that he'll probably sit down with him and his family and figure out the best opportunity for him. Whether it's here or whether it's moving on and trying to play at the next level or so another school. I haven't had that conversation with him.
Dick Cox.
I know you've coached in a lot of cold weather games and you're used to it. Now, are you one of these guys who are going to break out all the thermal gear and stay nice and warm? Or are you one of these tough coaches that'll wear a short sleeve shirt or just a sweatshirt?
Well, it's kind of, in Colorado, I wore shorts sometimes when it was cold, and wore short sleeves in like 10-degree weather when we played Utah State one time, just to prove to the guys that it's not that cold. It's going to be cold. We realize that, and they'll have stuff. They make all this nice stuff that Under Armour makes that keeps you warm. The main thing is they won't wear sleeves if they touch the ball. And as far as me, I won't have a lot on. But people don't realize is when I got sick, I lost a lot of feeling in my hands and my feet. My feet are still numb. So, when it gets cold, it used to be your feet get first thing that gets cold. See, I can't feel my feet anyway. So people think I'm tough, but I have some nerve issues where cold weather doesn't bother me right now.
Elmer Grannon.
I guess sort of on that subject, what was your coldest game that you played in? Do you remember the number and if there was snow on the ground or any of those kind of?
I played in. I don't even remember a cold game that I played in. I cannot even remember one that we played that was really, really cold that it bothered me. Now, the last 5 years coaching in some, there's been some cold ones, especially in Laramie. One in Colorado Springs that was extremely, extremely cold. The humidity's not bad out there, so if the sun's out, the cold weather's not that bad. When that sun goes down, that wind picks up, it can get a little cold out there. But as a player, I cannot even think of a cold weather game that I was like, oh, this would be miserable.
Yeah, I think Adam Prentice was saying a little earlier when he was in here that y'all were playing at Wyoming and there wasn't any snow in the first half, and at halftime y'all came back out and there was snow on the ground.
Yeah, I showed that to the defensive coaches a few weeks ago. I said, just pull up the game and just first half, click a play, and then go to the second half. You know, it was like I thought it was a blizzard. Of course, those people up there, you know, they said this isn't a blizzard. This is just normal. But it was, you know, it was an unbelievable football game. It turned into a weather game. It was basically inside drill the whole second half, and I never forget. I'm on the headset, and I said, I wish we had some quarterback run game in this game. And then that fourth quarter, Wyoming basically went to quarterback run with Josh Allen, and we couldn't stop him because they had extra. You know, it's both teams are loading the box, and the team with the quarterback run ended up winning that game. It was wish we could have won, but it was one of those classic games because of snow and just I mean, it was a brutal game.
I guess both teams on Saturday will have that luxury of the quarterback run game.
Both teams will have a luxury of a quarterback run game. You know, they've have a lot more reps and experience at it than we do. You know, that's what they do. That's kind of how they built their offense. Now they do have really, really good passing schemes off of their run action and a lot of four vertical stuff, a lot of switch verticals, a lot of getting backs and putting them on wheel routes and things that we've got to be good with our eyes in the back end. And we did some of that stuff last week in the passing game and hit some of them, and we missed some of them. But hopefully we'll be a little bit better this week, second time around.
Eric Boynton.
Yeah, Mike, obviously you're going to call plays to try to win the ball game, and Kevin is always a huge part of your approach. But will it be in the back of your mind at all on the sideline that he's so close to 1,000? Will that factor in if maybe you can get him an extra carry here, there, that type of deal?
You can't approach a game like that in the game. You know, now, you know, this is a certain part of a game in the game when the game's out of hand, then, you know, you might say, what's he at? You know, he needs another carry. But, you know, you're playing a game and you're trying to win the game. And I think he'll have an opportunity, Eric, because he's such a vital part of our offense. And with, you know, Fenwick down, and, you know, being the last game, he'll have enough carries to have that opportunity.
Anything else for Coach Bobo? Seeing no hands.
All right, guys.
That is a
Thanks.
wrap.